Hey guys, thank you for watching the Slat Rock channel. If you're new here, don't forget to subscribe and hit that bell icon to get notified every time we post a new video. And if you've already done so, just make sure that it's still active. 5 botches from WWE Super Showdown and 5 reasons Goldberg became Universal Champion. Botch. Audio issues. Before WWE Super Showdown got underway, there was a kickoff show that saw Charlie Caruso, Scott Stanford, and David Otunga talk about the pay-per-view. During the kickoff, fans got to see a video package from Ricochet where the High Flyer spoke about his upcoming WWE Championship match against Brock Lesnar, as well as his career. Unfortunately for fans, many will have struggled to hear what the Raw superstar had to say about the match, as during the video,
"Why can't I defeat Brock Lesnar at Super Showdown and become the new WWE Champion?"
The trio of Caruso, Stanford, and Otunga could still be heard talking, as their microphones hadn't been muted. Charlie could be audibly heard realizing that her mic was still on and quickly muted both herself and the other two, but this was still a pretty rookie error from the biggest wrestling company in the world. Reason Goldberg won: Roman Reigns. With Goldberg as the Universal Champion, everyone's attention has turned to WrestleMania and who will challenge the Hall of Famer at the Show of Shows. Right now, the current favorite is Roman Reigns, one of 6 entrants in the upcoming Men's Elimination Chamber match, though it was also suspected that Reigns would win and go on to face the Fiend. If the plan is for the big dog to leave Tampa as the new Universal Champion, then putting the title on Goldberg was definitely the right thing to do. Since returning from his leukemia battle, Reigns has been able to maintain a good reaction from the crowd, and defeating the popular Fiend at WrestleMania would have only hurt that goodwill from the crowd. Now Reigns can go on to defeat the 53-year-old part-timer, who will no doubt be hated thanks to his win over the Fiend, and while it's a shame for Wyatt, this all fits with WWE's long-term plan. Botch. The Viking Raiders. Despite both teams being former Raw Tag Team Champions, the Viking Raiders and the OC were relegated to the pre-show, in a match that saw the pairing of Gallows and Anderson walk away the victors. Given that the Raiders recently held the titles and the OC being crowned the best tag team in the world at Crown Jewel last year, it's surprising that this match didn't make it to the main card, but after the botches that took place, maybe it's for the best. The most notable error during the match occurred when Ivar almost completely missed his handstand double clothesline, and this wasn't the only mistake in the match. When the OC looked to deliver the Magic Killer, a move they've hit countless times, Gallows dropped before Anderson was properly in position. There was also plenty of other sloppy moments from all 4 men during the match, and we can't help but wonder whether the long trip to the Middle East and possible jet lag could have caused these 4 notably talented stars to mess up. Why Goldberg won: to cause outrage. This may seem like an odd reason for the WWE to put the title on Goldberg, but the company surely knew that what they decided on would outrage fans. In fact, the idea of outraging fans may have been a reason why the company chose to have a title change hands, as the WWE is a TV show, and like any good TV show, it needs a good cliffhanger. Over the years, there's been plenty of people who have told people that they'll stop watching WWE after a match didn't go as they wanted, but how many of these people actually stop watching? With the title no longer on Wyatt, there's obviously a level of intrigue in what will happen next, both for the former and new Universal Champions. That intrigue will surely lead to viewing figures, and after a year or 2 of shaky viewing figures, having good numbers is exactly what the company needs ahead of WrestleMania 36. Botch. Undertaker's Chokeslam. Even though The Undertaker wasn't officially announced for the show, everyone knew he would be appearing. After several reports from non-WWE sources that shared photos of the dead man in Riyadh, the company had no choice but to address the former world champion being in Saudi Arabia and speculated themselves on whether he would appear at the pay-per-view. Sure enough, the dead did rise at Super Showdown, as after laying waste to Carl Anderson and Luke Gallows backstage, The Undertaker claimed the Tuwaiq Mountain Trophy by defeating AJ Styles. When the Phenom did chokeslam the Phenomenal One though, his knee clearly buckled, causing the dead man to nearly drop the Raw superstar before he had planned to. Fans will remember Undertaker's Super Showdown match last year against Goldberg, which also suffered from a lot of botches. And while the dead man certainly fared better this time, with just one small botch, it's still a mistake that took away from what should have been his epic return. Why Goldberg won? Because The Fiend didn't need the title. Like the majority of people online, we here at Slatrock enjoyed The Fiend's title reign, but the real question is, did he need the title? Given the fact that his feuds with the likes of The Miz and Daniel Bryan were focused on Wyatt's darker side, the argument could be made that the Universal title was just an afterthought in these storylines, something a title should never be. Though he is no longer the Universal Champion, we doubt that this loss will affect The Fiend's booking, especially this close to WrestleMania. Whether it be against the likes of Roman Reigns or John Cena, fans should still expect Wyatt to have a major match at this year's show in Tampa, while the Universal title can be more effectively used to build a different feud. Botch Man Sewers moonsault. Mansoor is one of WWE's most popular stars in Saudi Arabia, and he's certainly been booked well in his home country. At Super Showdown last year, the Saudi prospect won the 50-man Battle Royal and continued on his winning ways by defeating Cesaro at last October's Crown Jewel. Super Showdown 2020 was no different for the High Flyer, who picked up another impressive win over Dolph Ziggler despite a botched moonsault during the match. In the final moments of the contest, Mansoor's moonsault was misplaced, which meant that the show-off received both of Mansoor's knees in his chest in a particularly brutal spot. While the commentary team tried to gloss over it by claiming it was intentional, there's no way that Mansoor would have intended to hit such a painful move that no doubt left Ziggler feeling hurt. Hopefully Mansoor will be able to learn from this event and be able to hit the moonsault perfect next time, as it goes to show that despite his popularity in his homeland, the young superstar still has a lot to learn about operating in the ring. Why Goldberg won? Because fans didn't expect it. Since The Fiend captured the Universal Championship at Crown Jewel 2019, no one had been able to put him down. Going into Super Showdown, the majority of fans expected Goldberg's return to be a one-off, as the Saudi shows offer legends such as himself a big money payday for just one match. In short, the vast majority of fans expected The Fiend to retain his title, and this may be exactly why the company chose to put the coveted blue title on Goldberg. In an era where WWE is lambasted for being predictable and boring, having Goldberg win was certainly something that many fans didn't see coming, but don't confuse unpredictable for good. While Goldberg's win was shocking, it was also what many fans didn't want to see. And in the time since Super Showdown, the fans have been very vocal about this change, and the new Universal Champion on social media. Botch, the women's match. At WWE Super Showdown, Bayley and Naomi made history when they took part in the first ever women's championship match in Saudi Arabia. A contest that saw Bayley retain her SmackDown Women's title, the match had a lot of eyes on it, which may explain the multiple botches that took place. When the Glow attempted to hit her scorpion kick, she almost fell over in what must have been embarrassing for Naomi, who has been booked as a star who can keep her balance, as her appearances in the Women's Royal Rumbles have proven. This wasn't the only mistake from Naomi though, as the springboard that she intended to be a clothesline turned into a spear of sorts, and this even caused Corey Graves to try and cover it by saying the move wasn't intended, but still effective. It was clear to anyone watching that this match wasn't the same caliber as last year's contest between Natalya and Lacey Evans, but Bayley and Naomi were still able to make history in Saudi Arabia, despite multiple botches plaguing their match. Why Goldberg won? Because he is the bigger star. While The Fiend has been one of WWE's most popular and dominant stars over the past year or so, he doesn't hold a candle to Goldberg's star power. Debuting in WCW back during the Monday Night Wars, Goldberg is a Hall of Famer for a reason, having transitioned from WCW to WWE, holding the World Championship of both companies. And while Goldberg is a big star in the US, he's an even bigger star overseas, as due to the WWE not touring Saudi Arabia often, legends such as Goldberg are revered when they make the trip out of North America. Given the length of his career and his success in WCW and WWE, it's hard to argue that a lot more people across the world know who Goldberg is than The Fiend, and this is especially true for markets where WWE does not tour nearly as often. Simply put, the WWE wants big names on their marquee, And for as popular as The Fiend is, Goldberg is a bigger name for them to put on posters for WrestleMania, especially as the new Universal Champion.